Israel's been put on a blacklist of countries that harm children during conflict. Will you stop British arms being sold to Israel immediately?
Well, Annie, so far as arms are concerned, there are a number of licenses that allow arms to be sold to Israel. They need to be reviewed. The government has, in fact, got legal advice on this in relation to what's being sold and what it's being used for. We've asked the government for access to that advice. They're not going to give it, and we're in an election now, so I'm not expecting it. But if we get over the line, we will look at that.
So you can't make a decision without looking at legal advice on selling arms to Israel?
Nick, it depends what is actually being exported. Let me give you an example. If something is being exported for purely defensive reasons, you've seen the Iran attack on Israel. That is materially different to something which is being used, let's say, in a Rafah offensive.
What they do with their missiles once they sell them?
Well, Nick, what happens with these licenses, because the government hasn't given me access to their review, which is fair enough, but I have access to the process. Each license is reviewed one by one, what is within this license.
So you wouldn't ban
and what it has been. We'll do the review and look at it, but where it's being, look, on...
A lot of reviews going on.
Well, Nick, no, this is taken really seriously in government. Each licence is looked at one by one. And in the past, decisions have been made not to sell arms to Israel. And where that's necessary, that's a decision that we would take.
We'll have a review and a consultation and a commission. This is Starmer's strategy, right? He bores you to sleep with every answer he gives to a question. Will you sell weapons to Israel? Well, we'll have a review of the licenses. There are reviews of the licenses and we're selling the weapons. Do you agree or disagree with what's going on? He has to depoliticize absolutely everything and make it about law and process. And that's fine if you're a lawyer, if you're a bureaucrat. The point is, Keir, you want to be the Prime Minister. You can't avoid the politics when you want to be the most powerful politician in the country.
Abby in Paddington, does Sir Keir Starmer agree with the use of the word genocide?
In what sense?
I imagine in Gaza, the Israel committing genocide in Gaza.
Well, look, I've said repeatedly, Israel has to exercise its right to self-defense within international law. No, Abby, and anyway, I'm not going to sit in an LBC studio and pronounce that something is either genocide or not. And I'll tell you for why, Nick.
You can't decide about the guns, the weapons. I'm sorry, you can't decide about genocide. Why,
Nick? Allow me, please. In the fall of Yugoslavia, all sorts of atrocities were committed. I represented Croatia in the International Court for 3 months, where we argued about genocide. We reviewed 3 months' worth of evidence. At the end of that, the court itself then had to make a decision based on all of the evidence. That's how it works. Not politicians sitting looking at clips, bits of footage here and there and coming to decisions based on that. It has to be Israel. Every country has to be held properly to account in accordance with international law. But the body that does that is the International Court that's set up in order to do so. And having literally argued in court for 3 months over the meaning of genocide, the evidence of genocide, I'm very well aware of what it is. I'm also very, very well aware that you need to have the evidence in front of you before you come to a final decision.
There's, of course, one word that you can say in response to all of that. Russia. Keir Starmer is saying, I can't say whether this or that is happening with any kind of conclusive finality because, of course, I'm not there. I can't lambast and castigate and criticise from a lovely air-conditioned studio here in London, OEC. As the man who'll be the next Prime Minister, I couldn't possibly do that. It'd be ridiculous. That's precisely what you've been doing for years about Russia. Vladimir Putin's a war criminal. He's a war. By the way, Russia is waging an illegal war of aggression in Ukraine. That's what's happening. I don't need to read a 8,000-word executive summary from some document which is thousands of pages long to know that's happened. That has happened. And what we want to know as an electorate faced with a man who will be the next Prime Minister, do you think what is happening in Gaza is genocide?